Bitcoin popping off more than $1,000 from yesterday's low of about 24,800. But the real question is this rally real? Is this rally a trap? And in this case, just kind of spoil a surprise, there are some very concerning things going on with it as of right now. But other than that, I do want to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. It's a nice little Tuesday morning over here, and we have very important things to be getting into as of this moment. So you know what? We're just going to jump right into price action. I want to remind myself as I quiet my phone that the narrative on this channel for the past, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks now has been this. September, very, 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 very likely to be a down month. And that if we are going to see downside, it most likely happens within the first 3 weeks of September, coming into the 15th of September, that quad witching date. And this is no different right here as we get very, very close to that date. The probabilities still remain in favor of the downside with a humongous closure coming in later today, which we'll go over in a second here. But for right now, looking at this rally, there are a few things that would imply a bit of caution with it. First and foremost, Bitcoin has gotten stopped right around that green moving average, which is the 55 exponential moving average for the moment. And that is where we do expect our trending lower highs to come in around. And so far, so good. Now, to be fair, it is a little bit early to call this one. But on the other side, there is potential for hidden bearish divergence if Bitcoin basically stops anywhere below, let's say, about $26,000. As we are already seeing the 4-hour RSI make higher highs compared to what we did see basically over the last week or so. So in that case, if Bitcoin confirms a local high right here, then yes, hidden bearish divergence plus lower high, plus, as we'll go over later, some other momentum and statistically based indicators are going to be suggesting that downside is going to be more likely. So how would you confirm a local high right here? Well, very obviously, Bitcoin would need to close a 4-hour time frame below about 25,600, a little bit below there to be fair, if you want to be super exact. If that does happen, lower high confirmed, hidden bearish divergence confirmed, and a few other things that we'll go over later as well, also confirmed, and very likely a retest of these lows plus probably new lows. So I would express a bit of caution with that. I think that the hourly time frame is already showing potential for such things. Let me just double check. And no, actually, I take that back. It does have the same potential for hidden bearish divergence here. It's just as of right now, there is no local high to be confirmed. So same thing right here, below about 25.6 is kind of where I'd be looking for. Anyways, moving on now, I do want to get into the HBDR indicator as the 4-hour time frame also getting the last 24 hours of price action incredibly well. Bitcoin, again, just coming to the bottom side of the 50% of historic returns range lows, and then bouncing to the average as of right now. Now in this case, it would suggest that really nothing of significance has happened as long as Bitcoin's below the top end of this range, which is 26, about 300. So a little bit less lenient than what I was saying earlier, but hey, I guess it has a bit of a chance here. As long as it's not below 25.6, that's very, very important, of course. So also going into the daily, I do think that something of significant happened yesterday or last night yesterday, for Monday. And we did see our first closure below that blue range lows, the 50% of historic returns range lows. So it did suggest that, hey, something significant has happened. And thus far, this pump back up has really only retested that same breakdown point. So again, just another way of looking at it from a statistical narrative that, hey, as long as Bitcoin's below this region, it is just very likely that a bearish retest actually. Anyways, now that we've gone through that, I do want to remind myself to talk about the 5-day analysis over here because it is still very much valid. It's just, we've been waiting very patiently. Hey, stop that. It looks like Mr. Bot took profit right there. Good job, Bot. But 5-day time frame is going to be seeing volatility very likely expand here. Closing tonight, by the way, and the 5-day stochastic oscillator is positioned pretty heavily to the downside as of right now. Basically around $27,000 is the current pivot. I'm not saying that Bitcoin has to get above that pivot today in order for me to look at this as a bullish reset. But what I need to see is that Bitcoin just doesn't break down today, and then this pivot right here, come down significantly towards current price action. I mean, like low 26s is where I start to really entertain that possibility of a major bullish reset, and this being the next major low before Bitcoin tries much higher. Until then, as we've been saying, probabilities still favor the downside, especially coming into the 15th of this month, which is in just a few days here. So ultimately, if we're going to see downside, it very likely happens within this next few days. Very, very likely happens within this next few days, if it's going to be happening at all. If Bitcoin survives until around that date, I'm going to start to lean more into this being, the next major higher low, and Bitcoin kind of digging itself out of this mess that it's gotten itself into. Anyways, also on the hopium front, I suppose we get it to it over here. We do see a few things. There are still a few things for the Bullish coming off of yesterday's price action. Over here on CME, we can see a couple things right off the bat. Bitcoin currently based off of that white moving average. That's a 200 simple on the daily. Almost always get some love to the upside or the downside. You can see Bitcoin put in a major low right here, major high right there, major low right there. So on and so forth. Doesn't have to be perfect, but around these regions are always going to be areas of interest. And as you can see, Bitcoin bouncing off of it, thus far. So quote unquote good for the Bullish, I guess. On top of that, if Bitcoin can confirm that as a local low, then we will see daily bullish divergence confirmed. And at that point, I'd really start to lean into, Bitcoin put in a major low within this region. So how would you confirm a local low right here? Well, on the daily, Bitcoin would need to pop back up and close on CME above about 26.1, 26.2 region, namely about 26. Yeah, I'd say 26.150. Cut it to the middle right there. If that happens, then yeah, you have a local low. You have you have regular bullish divergence. My voice is leaving me, and we'd all see volatility start to expand as well. On top of that, if we go over here to stochastic momentum, the daily for CME is going to be positioned to the upside, also having its own regular bullish divergence if Bitcoin does close above 25,200. I definitely would trust this one a lot less than what we did see on the RSI. That one's going to account for a lot more, but if we see the RSI one follow through, then both these will kind of be working hand in hand. And again, would keep open the hopium for the Bullish. But just kind of going down the lane here, I do want to see where all the momentum pivots are as of right now. 2-day time frame continues to the downside below 26,950. 12-hour time frame is going to be showing actually upside above 25,300. 6-hour time frame is going to be showing upside above 25,650. 4-hour time frame is going to be showing actually upside above 25,350, and hourly is going to be showing upside above 25,300. So maybe Bullish do have a chance here. I mean, we are seeing a lot of agreement within these medium and lower term timeframes. But still, for me, the most important thing would be closures within this case. As we've seen, over the, when Bitcoin's going mostly sideways, momentum oscillators just, they're not very trustworthy and not very efficacious. But, if we were to see major areas taken out, then yes, then I'd start to, lean into that portion of the analysis, because you can see that they are kind of aligned with each other. But for right now, still risk to the downside. The obvious pivots to the upside are very much well outlined, hopefully. And I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off. Big focus tonight on the 5-day closure. And then we'll come back at it tomorrow and assess, where things are. And with that said, I want to wish you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow, Wednesday.